China, the largest auto market in the world now. You've got to win China if you're going to be the global winner. Here you have a global battle, and Tesla has a chance to take more territory now, and I think they're doing precisely the right thing. 15 profitable quarters, close to $20 billion in profitability last year. They can afford it. Why not do the land grab now? I think that's what Tesla's thinking, and I think they're right to do it. He's focused like a laser on making sure he has a cost advantage over the others. I think he's going to squeeze a lot of the new incumbents, and I think what you're going to see very quickly is this big global shakeout again between Tesla, who's sitting on top. The Chinese were coming quickly with very low-cost batteries.
So before we get to that, some breaking news from Tesla in the United States. Well, what do we have here? Model S standard range. That's new. So too, the Model X standard range. These have just been introduced in the United States, starting $10,000 cheaper than the previous entry-level Model S and X variations. Didn't see this coming, although maybe I should have. It's possible these vehicles may be featuring an LFP battery, or alternatively, just less battery cells. But check this out. Prior to the standard range Model S, for dual motor all-wheel drive Model S, we'll get 405 miles of EPA range with a 0 to 60 time of 3.1 seconds. The standard range, $10,000 cheaper, 320 miles of range with a 3.7 second 0 to 60 time. Over to the Model X, $98,490, 348 miles of range, 3.8 seconds. Now the Model X standard range, 269 miles, nice, the 4.4 second 0 to 60 time. So rest in fucking peace, Lucid Motors. I mean, really, that's gotta hurt. As I record this, neither the Model X standard range or Model S standard range are eligible for the $7,500 tax credit. But with each starting $10,000 as I record this cheaper than the prior entry-level Model S and X, certainly going to mean a few more consumers out there can afford to purchase these vehicles. And truth be told, the majority of consumers typically don't need more than probably about 250-ish miles of range. Of course, there are exceptions. Sometimes people go on long road trips, but most consumers, most of the time, they're using their vehicles for a daily commute, occasionally a weekend away, and very rarely big road trips. Be very interesting to see how these vehicles affect overall Model S and X sales, which Tesla does break down in their quarterly production and delivery results. Just for contrast, comparing the Model X standard range with 269 miles with the Model Y entry level at 279 miles, these are fairly close to one another. In terms of total range, obviously, there's a bit of a difference in performance. And the Model S standard range with 320 miles of range versus a Model 3 entry level, 272 miles of range. Just goes to show what incredible value the Model 3 and Model Y are today. They're about half the price of these new standard range S and X vehicles with comparable range and comparable performance. Sure, they don't quite have the same tech, but I tell you what, Model 3 and Model Y are an absolute steal, and they are eligible both for the $7,500 tax credit. So this is some big news. And as I mentioned in the past, a linear decrease in the price to purchase a vehicle creates an exponential increase in demand, the number of people who can afford said vehicle. Given the fact that Tesla has a massive advantage in terms of technology and efficiency, even their entry-level standard range Model S and X vehicles, in many cases, will have significantly more range than many of the so-called competition. Ouch. Oh, and now's probably a good time to mention if you guys would like more content and or just want to support the channel, check the links in the pinned comment. You can subscribe over on X and also over on Patreon. Loads of exclusive video content in the archive. Plenty more coming soon.
I thought we'd sort of put this anxiety to bed, some sort of agreement between the key players in China that they wouldn't keep cutting prices, but it seems they have to.
It's resolution 2, but Elon's hard to predict. But here's what I think is happening. Every automaker in the world is going all electric. Tesla has a cost advantage over everybody else.
Accurate and widely underappreciated, if not entirely ignored. Can somebody remind me, how much did Ford lose per electric vehicle sold last quarter? What was it again? Oh, that's right, $60,000 US. As far as I'm aware, they're the only legacy automotive manufacturer actually separating out their electric vehicle financial performance versus their internal combustion engine vehicles. Expect similar losses for every other legacy automotive company. Now in China, things are a little bit different. Some electric vehicle manufacturers in China are actually making a small profit on each vehicle sold. Last I recall, BYD was making about 1/6, maybe 1/8 the profit per vehicle that Tesla's making in China, meaning if there's pricing pressure on BYD, they could very quickly go from slightly positive margins to losing money on every vehicle sold. Meanwhile, as Steve points out, Tesla has a huge cost advantage. They have insane pricing power. If Tesla wanted to, I'm not saying they should or would, but if they wanted to, Tesla could cut the prices on their vehicles across the board by around 20%, break even on every vehicle sold, and bankrupt many of their so-called competitors. We've seen recently Lucid currently shitting the bed. Apparently, it seems like they're unable to sell their vehicles, offering steep discounts and, in addition, very competitive financing. It's always important to understand that electric vehicles don't exist in a bubble. They exist in the broader automotive market, which exists in the global economy. Right now, the automotive market, due to economic concerns, interest rates through the roof, and so on, automotive market is imploding. Anytime Tesla cuts prices on any of their vehicles, it's important to ask the question, how will this affect companies trying to sell electric vehicles on planet Earth that aren't Tesla? You know, given that most of them aren't making any money, many of them are losing insane amounts of money per electric vehicle sold. And if they want to keep selling through their unprofitable vehicles, they'll need to cut prices further to compete with Tesla on price.
They're simply put trying to grab market share.
This is true, although there's a few different pieces to this puzzle. Tesla wants to sell every vehicle they make. They're scaling as fast as they possibly can toward 20 plus million vehicles sold per year. They'll sell these vehicles for whatever the market clearing price. In addition, it is in Tesla's best interest and per their mission statement to displace as many internal combustion engine vehicles as possible. Plus, the big one, the stealth mode, the Trojan horse that people seem to be ignoring, which they will regret, is scaling up Tesla's global fleet of future robotaxis, which between now and then are currently collecting data on Tesla's behalf. Imagine that, selling a product, a highly profitable product, in fact, a product with industry-leading profit margins that just so happens to be covered in the sensors necessary to collect the data to train your neural nets to get better at autonomy and ultimately solve this problem. Then, with an over-the-air software update, the robotaxis awaken and start printing insane amounts of money. Meanwhile, many of Tesla's so-called competitors, especially some legacy automotive companies, have recently announced they're slowing down their EV production plans because they think there's a weakness in demand. Right at the time where they should be moving as fast as they possibly can towards electric vehicles. Hey guys, we decided to make less electric vehicles than we said we were going to because the transition is going to happen slower than we thought it would.
What American investors, I think, often don't understand is not only China the largest auto market in the world now, you've got to win China if you're going to be the global winner. Tesla's being very aggressive. Interestingly, they make 54% of all Teslas made in China today. Part of the reason for that is they can make them less expensively. And I think Elon's trying to take advantage of that price advantage he has as a low-cost provider.
I mean, you say they're going for market share, but BYD is a fierce competitor. Ultimately, does it spell concerns more globally as well for EV competition?
Let's pass this statement. First of all, the idea that BYD would be a fierce competitor of Tesla's, well, this is absurd. We can throw that one in the bin. Tesla's making 6, maybe 8 times as much profit per vehicle sold. They're making significantly more electric vehicles than BYD now. Key caveat here, ICE vehicles with a vibrator-sized battery don't count as electric vehicles because their primary form of propulsion is an internal combustion engine. A lot of people like to mislead and play this little game, oh, hybrids count too. No, they don't. Often, you'll see very misleading claims that BYD are making and selling more electric vehicles than Tesla. They are not. And of the electric vehicles they are making, they have razor-thin profit margins. However, when it comes to BYD being a fierce competitor with other companies trying to make electric vehicles globally, especially outside of China, this is actually true. Companies like BYD and others from China will be eating the lunch of legacy automotive manufacturers, who themselves make razor-thin profit margins on their ICE vehicles today and lose money on their EVs. As we've established, second place really needs a telescope to see Tesla. However, companies like GM in particular, Volkswagen, Toyota, they should be shitting the bed, worried about what BYD will do to their future sales. There's no point worrying about Tesla because they'll never catch up to them. But BYD are definitely going to be making major inroads outside of China in the medium term. BYD do make some decent vehicles. They hardly make any money on them, but a decent, well-priced electric vehicle, there's a market for that, and it's not currently being filled by any legacy automotive companies.
Look, no one should be crying for the Chinese. Of the top 10 auto brands in the world, 7 of the 10 are Chinese. So most Americans are thinking, how are Ford and GM doing? The real smackdown is this. It's Tesla versus the Chinese, with Volkswagen coming in quickly because the biggest seller of vehicles in the world in 2022, they've got deep pockets, global manufacturing. But those are the big three. Everybody else is trying to catch up. So it'll be an interesting battle. What's so fascinating to me is Tesla, really the leader in EVs for a long time, the first ones to connect every vehicle. They've really led the world, not just in bringing battery production in-house, increased robotization of manufacturing, but probably most importantly, really taking the lion's share of and optimizing for over-the-air software. That profit from software sales drops right to the bottom line. That's why the other news piece this morning, risk you've got is Ford hired Apple's software head to help them figure out their software pricing. They need that profitability.
So I've said it before and I'll say it again. I think Ford might maybe have a chance of making it, even though they're losing 60+ thousand US dollars per electric vehicle sold as I record this. Why? Ford CEO Jim Farley actually knows what needs to be done and is willing to say it out loud. In fact, Jim tweeted this video recently.
Charging has been pretty challenging. I stopped at one of the most popular charging sites in the country on the I-5 in Kalinga, a big Tesla supercharger network there, and I went to a low-speed charger. It took me about 40 minutes to get 40%, but it was a really good reality check. The challenges of what our customers go through and the importance of fast charging and what we're going to have to do to improve the charging experience.
So that was Ford CEO Jim Farley admitting that using a non-Tesla charger is slow as fuck. It's a major pain point and the need to address this. The fact that I'm praising a legacy automotive CEO for being honest kind of illustrates the sad state of affairs we currently find ourselves in. Honesty shouldn't be praiseworthy, it should be the default. But within the legacy automotive industry, you'll be hard-pressed to find a CEO willing to say what needs to be said and actually tell the truth. Yes, I am looking at you, Mary B.S. Barra. So as I mentioned, the fact that Ford are acknowledging the truth, they're willing to say things that are honest and uncomfortable, is a very good sign, as opposed to other companies whose CEOs are continually lying, misleading and deceiving their investors.
We're going to bring those details about Peter Stern later in the show. Hey, Steve, let's remind our Bloomberg Technology audience about these specific cuts. It's a $1,900 cut to the two highest spec Model Ys in China. So a 4.5% cut to the long range, a 3.8% to the performance spec of Model Y. Those are not the highest volume trims. But if Elon Musk came to you and said, you know what, I've changed my mind again. We're going to cut prices. We'll just keep targeting volume and growth. What would you have said to him?
Strange question. Now, I'm going to role play here. I'm going to pretend that I'm Steve Wesley and imagine that Elon Musk had just said this to me. My response would be, Elon, what the f*** is wrong with you, you moron? You just wasted your breath. I know. It's in your master plan. You know that master plan you published on the internet? Yeah? And the whole 20 million units a year? How the f*** are you going to get to them without driving the cost down? We know. I know. Why did you waste your breath? You idiot. Go do something productive. Thank you.
Well, look, as I know better than most, Elon's awfully hard to predict fellow. But I'm looking at the market here, and I'm seeing Tesla trade down a bit. And I know investors are thinking, gosh, reduce profitability. I think that's short-sighted. Here you have a global battle, and Tesla has a chance to take more territory now. And I think they're doing precisely the right thing. 15 profitable quarters, close to $20 billion in profitability last year. They can afford it. Why not do the land grab now? I think that's what Tesla's thinking, and I think they're right to do it.
Duh.
Hey, Steve, how's China changed since the time you were on Tesla's board as a priority for the company?
China was not even a speck in the rearview mirror. You know, for the last 50 years, we've all been looking at the Japanese, increasingly the Koreans. They make outstanding cars. And by the way, Hyundai and Kia coming out with the Iconic, these are great brands. They're going to be part of the picture. But China, simply put, was not in the picture. Fast forward 20 years, what's really changed is electric cars are really better in virtually every way. They're faster, they're better for the planet, they're more reliable. The big fly in the ointment is they just plain cost too much, but the cost per kilowatt hour has gone down dramatically. Think about this, from $1,100 a kilowatt hour down now to about 90. The reason the Chinese are doing so well, one, the Chinese government subsidizes their auto companies, but two, most all of the auto batteries in the world are made in China, and that gives them a competitive edge in battery pricing. The real question is, can the Chinese use their edge in lower cost batteries to catch up on the edge Tesla has in manufacturing and software?
Hey, Caroline, Steve's got a great grasp on the data. He's talking about 54% of production coming out of China, but it raises the question of, well, hold on, what if you cut back in China as well?
Yeah, I mean, when we're looking at a near third drop in shipments for the month of July coming from China. Steve, make this global for us for a moment, because they don't just produce in China. Yes, it's been a key area of focus, but they produce largely in the US, also in Germany. They're looking to expand. How much are we going to see a curtailment of overall production, or indeed a curtailment in overall profitability globally here?
Well, 2 points. One, Tesla loves producing in China because costs there are so low. But you'd be foolish not to be aware of the geopolitical concerns on the horizon. And that's why doubling down on the capacity size in Berlin, expanding capacity in China, and about to break ground this month with a new plant in Monterrey, Mexico. So Tesla's not stupid. They're diversifying. They're going to other markets like Mexico where they can enjoy the benefits of lower cost vehicles. But I must say, I think Elon, having survived the tough times 5, 6, 8 years ago, where it wasn't even sure the company would survive, is focused like a laser on making sure he has a cost advantage over the others. I think he's going to squeeze a lot of the new incumbents. And I think what you're going to see very quickly is this big global shakeout again between Tesla, who's sitting on top. The Chinese were coming quickly with very low cost batteries, and Volkswagen, which is probably the other Western brand that I think has done the best at modernizing, bringing battery production in-house and improving manufacturing capabilities.
Definitely agree in terms of Tesla and Chinese EV makers, but Volkswagen, I beg to differ, Steve, in a big fucking way. Volkswagen has about 4 trillion different electric vehicle models, no economies of scale, their software sucks harder than a vacuum, the performance and the specs on these vehicles sucks, the engineering sucks. Just ask Sandy Munro what he thinks of an ID4. Volkswagen, a few years ago, were neck and neck with Tesla in terms of global electric vehicle sales. They've fallen dramatically behind. They're failing to scale even close to the pace of Tesla. But the EV market is growing faster than Volkswagen can catch up, meaning someone else, actually multiple other companies, are eating their lunch. VW have f***ed up. One of their biggest recent mistakes was getting rid of Herbert Diess Nuts. The guy knew what needed to happen, said what needed to happen, and was also being honest, much like Jim Farley. Next minute, he got fired for telling the truth, I think. Now don't get me wrong, VW will continue to sell a lot of electric vehicles across trillions of different models. The problem is, they're not making money on these vehicles. There's too much complexity. They don't know how to make a compelling vehicle. They suck at software. They're too encumbered with legacy scale. After all, this is a company who on a good year will produce around 10 million ICE vehicles. I have no idea what Steve Wesley is smoking regarding his comments around VW. I think they are not going to age well. My best guess, if VW manage to stay in business, and that is a big if, by late this decade, they'll be lucky if they're producing around 1/3 as many vehicles as they were at their peak.
Steve, very quickly, your reaction to Zach Kirkhorn, the CFO of the last 4 years, 13 years at the company, leaving Tesla?
Well, it's no surprise. Executives at Tesla tend to turn over fairly often. The fact that Zach survived as long as he did is a testament to him. But I don't think it's a surprise. You know, people tend to think Tesla is a one-person company, and Elon may be a visionary, but you got to give him and the Tesla board credit. They built out their executive team. They're playing long ball here. And I think as you look at their revenues this year, I believe they'll crest $100 billion with the highest profitability in the auto industry. Hard to complain about what they're doing. Right now, they look a little smarter than the rest.
Tesla looks more than a little smarter than the rest. They're literally embarrassing the entire industry. I tell you what, man, I would not want to be one of Tesla's so-called competitors in the United States in the $80,000+ price range now that the Model S and X standard range have just dropped. Looking very much forward to seeing how this impacts Tesla S and X production and sales in the coming quarters. Is it too soon to send my condolences to Lucid, BMW, Mercedes and Audi? Athletic Greens AG1 has given me a massive, meaningful boost in energy, allowing me to do a lot more every day, including using my brain more and using my body more. I highly recommend you guys and girls check it out. Athletic Greens AG1 is an excellent way to fill in nutritional gaps. It's got 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, and whole food source nutrients, plus prebiotics and probiotics and digestive enzymes and adaptogens to help you deal with stress. Plus, if you click the link in the pinned comment or head to drinkag1.com/SMR, you can get yourself a 1-year free supply of vitamin D3 and K2. But don't take my word for it. Here's what some of you guys and girls have to say. AG1 has changed my life. I was, as you described, treating myself like a circus, ate like trash, rarely exercised, used alcohol as a stress crutch, cannabis also. AG1 is what gave me the kick in the ass, got me back to the gym, motivated me to do more for myself, family, my business, etc. Keep doing what you do. Now, I know there's some skeptics, the same kind of people who think Elon Musk is a fraud, reading this going, what do you thought? There's no way that's possible, bro. It must be a placebo effect. Believe it or not, this is a recurring theme. If you give your body everything it needs to feel and perform its best, including having a lot more energy, you'll need ways to use that energy. For me personally, that includes more exercise, moving my body more social activity, and more cognitively demanding tasks, including producing a ton of exclusive content over on Twitter and on Patreon, plus my daily YouTube uploads. The proof's in the pudding. On to another testimonial from a viewer of this channel. SMR, you asked me to provide feedback on AG1. Here it is. It has helped with mental acuity, stamina, and intestinal waste management. Can't read between the lines. It certainly helps with regularity and digestion. That's what the digestive enzymes are for. It has also dramatically reduced my cravings for sugar. You guys need to stop eating sugar. It's fucking poison. I'm 50, 5'9", and overweight, aka a fat motherfucker. I think that's a technical term for overweight, isn't it? Is it fat motherfucker or obese? I can't remember. I average 100 hours a week in the West Texas oil fields as a safety supervisor. Jesus Christ, dude. No wonder you're struggling to keep your weight under control. 100 hours a week. Brutal. It has helped me lose weight. It is not an appetite suppressant. It can help fat people suppress cravings, and motivation to be healthier is critical for changing your diet. Love you, brother. Again, this is a great point. It's something people really don't seem to grasp. If you have more energy, everything becomes easier. It's like turning on easy mode for life. A few years ago, before I was taking AG1, my health was trash. I was struggling to get through the day, had afternoon fatigue. The last thing I wanted to do was either use my brain or move my body. Didn't have the energy. Now, my biggest struggle every day is figuring out ways to use that energy. I'm exercising way more, doing a lot more with my friends and family, and of course, my work output has increased substantially. And you can fact check me. Check out the average length of my videos I was posting to YouTube 3 years ago. Need I say more? And one final testimonial. Love this one. Okay, here's the deal for me with this AG1 shit. I'm 41 years old and not the type to eat, drink, smoke, or sleep healthy, so I was skeptical. That being said, here's what I experienced. Day 1, meh. Day 2, afternoon fatigue was about 45 minutes late. Day 3, 0 afternoon fatigue. Day 4, 0 afternoon fatigue plus extra energy. Day 5, again, 0 afternoon fatigue plus energy, wondering, what the fuck, really? See, this is the thing, right? The results for many people are just almost too good to be true. This is the same experience I had. My afternoon fatigue just vanished out of nowhere. I'm like, wait, what the fuck? Why am I not tired in the afternoons anymore? Surely, it's not that AG1 shit, is it? Turns out it was. Day 6 and 7, same thing. Day 8, same thing. Plus, I had the want to get things done around the house that I normally would slack off and not get done. Again, the point, extra energy, you'll need to use it, you'll find ways to use it. Day 9, 10, and 11, and today is day 12. I fucking love it. So however you managed to get me to buy it, I'm so glad you did. Thank you so much, SMR. It really changed me so far. Guys, this shit really works. Just try it. By the way, this is the reason I continue to relentlessly promote AG1. A lot of people get real fucking mad in the comments. Oh my God, snake oil salmon's sold out. Oh my God, he's a scammer. This is fraud. But constantly, I'm pretty sure everyone making these comments is also currently short Tesla stock. I'm not particularly concerned about people having a negative perception, those folks suffering from small brain syndrome, still living in my bum's basement syndrome, etc., writing mean comments, claiming AG1's a scam or it doesn't work. I mean, bro, when I get feedback like this is what keeps me going. And remember, there is a 90-day money-back guarantee. There's nothing to lose here. Just try this stuff for a month, and if you don't get these results, get your money back. See, it's a literal no-brainer. It's an IQ test at this point in time. Testimonial after testimonial after testimonial like this. Get your money back if it doesn't work. Just try it for a month, and if it doesn't work, get your money back. Today's the day. It's finally time. Be like this guy who was a massive skeptic, but finally, after 1,000 promotions in a row, caved in, tried AG1, and has results like this. Head to drinkag1.com/SMR or click the link in the pinned comment, and please, let me know how you're feeling in a few weeks' time. Now, if you'll excuse me, time to put my extra energy to good use. I'll be recording some more exclusive content for Patreon and my Twitter subscribers. So click the links in the pinned comment. See you over on Twitter and or Patreon, and don't forget to grab your AG1. Love ya.